This is once again Ted the Speed Learner, and tonight I'm going to tell you how mirrors are made. How are they made? Well, back in ancient times, if you wanted to look at your reflection in the mirror, you would have to go to some pond somewhere, hope the heck the water was still and clear enough where you could actually see your reflection in the water. And then people discovered that when they made shields to protect themselves from flaming arrows of their opponents in war, then if you polished the shield just enough, you could see your reflection in it. Well, then they made similar type shields that weren't ready for war, but could be placed in a person's house, and that's how you would see your reflection. Okay. Now then, the very first mirrors were pieces of glass coated with tin and mercury. Now, do you know what the problem is with mercury? Well, I'll tell you what the problem is with Mercury. You see, Mercury is not a pagan god, and Mercury, in this case, is not referring to the planet that we all know of in our solar system. Mercury is actually referring to a metal. And if you ingest this metal, you can have gastrointestinal problems, you can have renal problems, which means your kidneys or your urinary tract. That's not a good thing to have. And, as if that wasn't enough, you get enough of it in your system, which is what they call methylmercury. Okay, you get enough of that in your system, you can start having hallucinations. Isn't that neat? That's where they get the Mad Hatter term, because they used to use mercury in the production of hats years and years and years and years ago. Okay? So, mirrors were not the only things that used mercury. In fact, you can find mercury, I'm pretty sure of this, you can find mercury when you're talking about old-time photography too. You know, those daguerreotype photographs, I'm pretty sure you can find mercury in that too. So between photography, mirror making, and making hats, it wasn't a good combination. So, if you didn't want to get exposed to mercury, you just didn't get in those trades. And I'm sure there were other trades as well that you got mercury, and that wasn't good. Okay, so after they found out how hazardous mercury can be, they took the mercury out and they put silver in. Now the thing is that silver, as far as it's concerned, it's not as poisonous as mercury, but it can still be poisonous. You don't want to ingest a lot of silver either. That's why you don't have silver fillings anymore. Okay? But anyway, when it comes to mirror making, it is a lot safer to make a mirror out of silver than it is out of mercury. Alright, so how do they do this? Well, first they take a piece of glass and they clean it with cerium oxide to remove any residue that might be on this stuff. And then they rinse it with demineralized water, because if there's any minerals that land on that mirror, the mirror can warp, and therefore it won't give you an accurate reflection, and that's something you don't want. Okay? After that, they coat the glass, just one side of it, okay, with tin. And then they coat the glass with silver. Why? Because silver won't directly stick to glass. But if you mix it in with tin, it will. Now, yes, tin can rust, but also silver can corrode. So the tin can actually protect the silver from corroding. Okay? And then after that, they coat the whole thing, the whole back side. Now you got the tin, you got the silver, and then they coat it with copper. Alright? Now something's got to seal that tin and that silver and that copper onto the glass. And that would be 2 coats of paint. So you first have your tin, then you have your silver, then you have your copper, and then you have 2 coats of paint. After that, you got yourself a mirror. Of course, all these metals are heated up real nice and hot to make sure all of this happens. And there you have it. Now you say, well, how do they cut the mirrors? Well, that's a different story. Okay? But if you have the right tools, you can actually cut that kind of a glass, and there you go. So mirrors are really basically glass that have been coated on one side with tin and silver and copper and 2 coats of paint. That's your mirror. Alright, I will tell you more in a future video, so stay tuned.